Game sounds quiet. Okay. I can turn OBS up. Yeah, can everyone talk real quick?
Yep.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Everything up, okay. Okay. Let me know how that is.
Seems good, at least from what I can hear on the stream.
Okay, yeah, hopefully that's a little better. I can turn it up a little bit more if needed, but not too much.
I just forgot how you're meant to do this T-Rex thing.
Yeah, I remember doing this as a kid. Well, not this, but... Okay, cool. Let me get back to the title and I'll be ready. Okay, we all good?
I think so.
Alright, cool. Let's get started then in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so this is Ape Escape. The goal of the game is to catch the escaping apes. They're going back in time and doing bad stuff. The format of this game is basically every level has a certain amount of apes and you have to catch a subset of them in order to progress.
Yeah, so you'll see here, you get that title screen that we skipped, and it essentially tells you how many monkeys you need to catch. And you can also see down in the bottom right as well, once we catch a monkey, the little net shows up instead of the monkey head. That's how many we need to catch. So, the start of the game is going to be fairly straightforward. There's not a whole lot going on for the first few levels. It's pretty much just, you don't have many gadgets yet, you're just catching the monkeys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the major things early on, and actually throughout the whole game, is gadget canceling. Every time you swing a gadget, you want to make sure you're swapping to another gadget to cancel it as soon as possible. This is really useful with the net in particular, because every time you catch a monkey, the net has to go through an animation of like teleporting the monkey away. So you want to make sure you're canceling that as soon as you get the catch.
Because yeah, as soon as you switch weapons, any animations that were currently going just completely stop, and so then you can start moving again straight away. So, as we mentioned, it's straightforward. A lot of the optimizations in the first few minutes of the run is just small movement stuff. And I guess I can start talking about it now because it's pretty relevant in the level coming up, is actually changing the camera angle to reduce lag. This game very much pushed the original PlayStation to the limits of it, I guess. And so you'll notice towards the start here, once Orsa jumps in the water after catching this monkey, he's going to turn the camera so it's looking straight down at Spike. So that reduces the lag a lot, especially in this level. You have a lot of rain, a lot of stuff going on, so it makes quite a large difference to actually be doing that. Especially when you start doing it all throughout the game, the spots that are really laggy to reduce that.
Yep. That last catch is really neat. Spike has the ability to do a ground pound after you double jump, which basically just lets him slam the ground. But he pulls the net up over his head whenever you do that, so it actually lets you catch things that are a little bit above you, like that last monkey.
Yeah, the ground pound, and we should see it a little bit later as well, changes the actual hitbox of Spike and the net a fair bit, to where it makes catches that don't really seem like they should work just because of how it changes it. Makes the hitbox quite a lot bigger, and as also said, extends up a bit above your head as well as below it, out in front of you.
Do we have a second for a donation real quick?
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
We have $300 from LV Creed, who says, I'm back with the donation for the winning Mario Party poll from the Minus Infinity music guessing game. $259 will be going to Mario Party 3 for winning the poll, and then the remaining $41 will be going to the Shovel Knight incentive. Keep it up, JRTA. Thank you very much, LV Creed.
Thanks, Creed.
Yeah, amazing. So a couple of things to note now that we're through this level as well. This level, yeah, the main part about it is catching the cycle of the elevator we jumped on below, where you finish the level there. If you miss that cycle, it's quite a hefty time loss early on in the game. So
yeah, that first monkey is the real
the
pain.
monkey behind the waterfall can be a real pain. You can throw rocks at him and stuff.
He's the first of many monkeys that are big jerks in this game.
Mm-hmm. So now I guess we can talk about the training room. So any new gadget you get, you need to go through a training room like this, sort of to get you acquainted with the gadget. This one is the first, I guess, properly heavy RNG element, where you optimally want these monkeys that are inside the boxes that you need to find with the radar to all be along one side, so that you can just run along and then go straight to the end.
Yep. I think there's, what, 8 possible permutations for the monkeys?
I think so, yeah.
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 Yeah, the monkey radar doesn't get too much use in this run.
No. As you can see as well, the levels are split up into different time eras, so now we've moved forward from the prehistoric and we're in sort of a more jungle-y era of time, I guess is the best way to put it. So we'll be going for a catch here, which is very much down to, while you can improve the chances of it a bit from jumping from a specific spot, so bad luck there where the monkey jumps straight into the UFO.
Mm-hmm.
But you can set that up from such a spot to where if you get lucky, the monkey can just not see you at all, and so that allows you to end the level a lot sooner than what we will be able to now.
Yeah, it saves about 8 seconds if you get it. The setup is fairly consistent, but you can still get unlucky sometimes.
Yeah. Another minor thing there, that monkey climbing along the vine, you're not really supposed to be able to get it, I feel. But,
yeah.
Again, because of the hitboxes being quite strange when you're swinging the stun club, double jump and swing it above your head and catch that, knock the monkey off the vine. And so, yeah, if we'd gotten UFO catch, that monkey there is where we would have finished. Instead, we need to run through here and just grab the monkey that's sitting outside the loading zone.
Yeah, there's a lot of intended revisits here when you have more and more gadgets to use and show off, but you can skip a lot of them just with like some non-developer intended movement.
Mm-hmm. So what we saw in that level to sort of get up to the area with the boulders was what's called a slope jump, where there's a short period of time after running up a slope before you actually go into the animation that slides you back down, where you still have the ability to jump. And so you can get a little bit of extra height, which just allows you to ledge grab on that area to get up there and not have to, go through the longer path. I think you can get to that area.
Yeah, you're intended to go back around the other way, I think, like
yeah.
from behind.
Something to note what we're doing here with the jumps along these gaps is what's called neutral double jumps. So if you hold the direction that you're facing or that you're moving in and do a double jump, the second jump will reset the momentum, and so you'll sort of do a stutter in the air before moving forward, and so you wouldn't be able to make jumps like that if you do that. But if you release the direction that you're facing right as you do the second jump input, you keep the momentum and you can hold down the analog stick again to continue moving forward. So we'll see that again here. So when we make that jump, Skip's having to go around on multiple platforms. And then just the death use here to actually get back up to where we want to be.
Yeah, this is... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Sorry, we have a $5 donation from Daxley, who says, monkey face. It's like the little, you know, the O with the...
Yeah, I know exactly the one. Thank you, Dad. So there's a small route difference you can talk about in this level where behind us there's a monkey called Windy, and where Orsa was mentioning before, there's monkeys that are just downright assholes, to be fair.
Yeah.
He's one of those monkeys, but he saves a fair chunk of time if you want to go for him, so it's a very high risk, high reward sort of thing to go for. It would mean we don't have to do that monkey that we death abused after. So.
Yeah, that's one thing to note, is that there is fall damage in this game, but if I don't make a mistake, you'll never see it, because swinging a gadget while you're falling cancels fall damage, and that comes in really big handy later on.
Yep. So now that we're through the first 5 levels of the game, it's where things start to pick up and get really interesting. So we're heading into another training zone, and this one's for the slingshot. Now, slingshot you would think is fairly straightforward, but as you're seeing here, is quite broken, so we can just get straight out of bounds and then head to the end without having to do any of the intended slingshot stuff. And we call this infinite jumping. Essentially how it works is when you pull back the slingshot, the game thinks you're on the ground for a certain period of time, even if you're pulling back the slingshot when you're in the air. So if during that period of time you do a jump input, you can chain these together to infinitely jump.
Yeah, the premise is similar to how neons work in the Mega Man X games, if you're familiar, but they're much more lenient. They're not frame perfect at all.
So a nice catch here.
No.
So, okay, but you can see the sort of idea there. Again, they're using the hitboxes of, you know, the gadgets where you can just sort of stick the net through that wall as you fall down, and the monkey just sort of sits in place until you go past. If you line it up correctly, you can catch him.
Oh, I got the god drop.
No. So it just means we need to catch an extra monkey at the end. It's similar to what it is with the UFO catch. If you miss it, there's just another monkey that you need to attack onto the end of the level before you can finish.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but the backup isn't too bad. He's right over here.
Just a quick reminder, guys, that if you donate $5 during this block, you can enter yourself to win a Kirby 64 cartridge. And Kirby 64 will be coming up later on in the marathon, actually. So definitely want to get those donations in. We have a couple of incentives coming up as well. We have Bid Wars for Twilight Princess, and we have Wizards and Warriors for play all stages instead of any %, and then we have Shovel Knight New Game Plus Boss Kill Demonstration, which will be after the run of Shovel Knight. So definitely get those donations in, enter yourself to win, and keep on watching.
So what we saw there was the first of the Buzz, or is Buzz his name in the
Jake, I think.
Jake.
I have no idea what it is in the Japanese version.
But you saw the first instance of there's these races, or there's a couple of races through the game where you're meant to, you know, race him through this obstacle course, and if you win, you get 5 Spectre tokens. Now, we don't need those at all for the any percent run, and so for whatever reason you can just leave that level and skip straight past it.
Yeah, the Spectre
And we've also
coins
got-
unlock mini games, which are fun, but not required.
Yeah. So we've got our next gadget here, which is when paired with the slingshot, what makes this run extremely fast-paced. It's the hula hoop, I guess.
Yeah,
The official term for it, but
a boost tube, I think.
boosts it. So you spin it around and you go real fast.
Yep.
Now, an interesting move tech with this is if you cancel the hoop immediately before jumping, so you can hit whatever button you have the hoop mapped to and then jump straight away, you'll carry the momentum that you had previously into the jump, and then you can chain it, and that's called a boosted jump. So that can get you extra distance as well as just being a lot faster than a normal jump. And then you can also chain that into infinite jumps.
Yeah.
So boosted jump to infinite jump.
It's a lot of inputs. Like, this is probably the most input-heavy game that I run. Like, there's a very small window to hit like 4 buttons.
And that helps as well in that you keep momentum into the infinite jump. So normally infinite jumps are quite slow and you more gain height as opposed to distance. But if you train a boosted jump into the infinite jump, then you can actually keep your distance moving, which is nice in a lot of cases. More out of bounds here, landing on the top and just boosting along. Saves a little bit of time as opposed to jumping straight back into the water.
I hate that. I grabbed the ledge instead of catch the monkey. Yeah, from this point on, we have access to pretty much every monkey with only a couple exceptions. So the routing just revolves around which subset are the fastest monkeys to catch and get out.
Yeah, there's a lot of gadgets you get later that are meant to be what you use to, you know, say get up to higher areas or catch monkeys that are behind a fence or something that you need a certain gadget to drive through and sit on a button. But because of infinite jump, it sort of completely nullifies all of those areas. So Dexter's Island is an interesting one. We're going to, it's probably got the most interesting out of bounds movement in the game.
Yeah.
The game's a little odd in that some areas are absolutely horrendous with the out of bounds, and others are, you know, kept really tight and you can't really do anything with them. This is one of the ones that, you know, the out of bounds is actually quite open, so you can do a lot, hit some loading zones. Hopefully we're about to see here. We'll do some infinite jumps to get out of bounds and drop down to a ledge here. The setting itself by lining up with the wall, and then he'll aim at that loading zone you can see above him there, and just do some infinite jumps towards it. You'll hit the bottom of the loading zone through to hit. But yeah, that the out of bounds infinite jumping we did there saves quite a bit of time over the alternative, which used to be you would still be doing a lot of infinite jumping, but it would just be along the outside of an elevator, get to the top and then run through, and you would need to swim in that tunnel behind us to get through to the gallery monkeys that we saw as we entered the loading zone from out of bounds.
Yeah, that's a very, very scary level.
Yeah, the scary part about it is if you miss any of your infinite jumps at all, you'll just fall into a bottomless void. There's no death plane or anything in that level, so you'll just sort of endlessly fall, which means you need to exit the level and re-enter if you do end up missing it, so
Yeah.
it's very scary. So some really cool movement tech here with very input heavy, as also as mentioned. You want to boost the jump into an infinite jump, land on that stick, and do another boost and jump to infinite jump. So some very precise, very input heavy movement there. Feels very nice when you have it.
Okay. The camera is not really your friend in this game. It tends to do whatever it wants. You can also see there the slingshot actually is useful as a slingshot. It has a couple different ammo. You have unlimited pellets, but then it also has explosive ammo and homing ammo, which drop from enemies, which we'll be seeing a little bit later.
Yeah. What also mentioned, I think, in one of the earlier levels as well, he got a god drop from one of the enemies. Is where you need a certain amount of explosive ammo later in the game to be optimal with how fast you kill some bosses. And so getting those explosives early from that enemy is really useful.
Yeah. I got an extra homing pellet from the guy, which was really, really nice for the UFOs later on.
And so there we're seeing the Skyflyer in that training room, and that's, I think, the only time we'll see it, though it might show up a little bit later.
I use it a little bit, yeah.
Not quite for actually getting, up high and stuff, though, I think, so
yeah.
It's interesting. It doesn't really get used for what it's intended for, because you have infinite jumps and completely nullifies the intended use of the Skyflyer. So some tight cycles in the second room of this level. You've got that snowball there, as well as the spikes that you saw earlier. And then coming up here, there's a staircase that you can see to the right.
Yeah, I'm gonna be skipping the stairs.
Right, okay. So, completely skip those stairs.
Yeah, this route is fairly new.
There's a few different routes in this level, because there's so many monkeys in this area. You can vary which monkeys you want to get quite a bit throughout the level.
Yep.
And so you have different variations of 212 or 213 rather.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Three,
it's fastest
222.
to get 222, I think, but I missed the one I was aiming for in the last room. So.
Yeah.
Just a real quick plug here, guys. This is JRTA4. We are raising money to help bring 4 Japanese runners to AGDQ 2018 in January, and that's in Northern Virginia. So the money we're working on raising here is helping them pay for their flights. We're trying to raise about $7,500 to get all 4 runners. And as you can see there on the left side of the screen, we are definitely getting close, less than $2,000 away from that goal. It would be really awesome to see that goal get met. And then any extra money after that goal is met will be going to Doctors Without Borders. So definitely get those donations in if you feel so inclined. And if not, make sure you just stay, hang out, watch the stream, share the stream, retweet some tweets. Just get some more people in here, having a good time watching some Ape Escape.
So I guess here's a decent point to talk about the different colors of monkeys. You saw there that monkey was in a black jumpsuit. So the monkeys have different properties, some are more aggressive, some are more docile, some have weapons. So that's based on the color of the pants or the outfit that they're wearing. So you have your most common ones, which are yellow, which you see all over the place. You have black ones, like we saw there. They normally have guns and are a lot more aggressive. You also have light blue, which are generally pretty passive and don't give too much trouble in many cases. As well as I think there's about 7 or 8 different colors.
Yeah,
that you see
there's like a dark blue, which are like really vigilant and can see you from far away. And then there's some others that I'm forgetting at the moment.
Yeah, you've got dark blue are fast, I think.
Oh yeah, that's
green,
right.
Green,
the
which
one
are
in-
very vigilant, you can
right.
see from far away, as well as white. I think is just a super green. You can see from further away. Very cool catch at the start here. You can see he just boosted jumps into the middle of these monkeys, spins his neck around, and catch all three.
Yep.
Which looks very cool. Is deceptively easy to sort of set up and do.
Yeah. You don't even need to boost jump. You can just hoop into the center of them and catch them all.
Definitely something if you have the game, boot it up and get to there and try it yourself. Very satisfying. Not too hard to pull off, which is always nice. So
Don't
we're
forget-
getting
oh.
full. No,
Go
you
ahead.
go. You go.
Okay, don't forget, guys, if you donate $5 during this block, you're entered in to win a Kirby 64 complete inbox card for the N64, courtesy of Retro Psycho, our prize provider for this marathon. You can see the plug for their website and their eBay page coming up in chat thanks to Nightbot every once in a while, so definitely check them out. Huge shout outs to them for providing prizes, including that Kirby card and the grand prize of a Super Famicom and Super Donkey Kong 1, 2, and 3, which you can enter yourself in to win if you donate $25 or more cumulative over the course of the marathon. It's a pretty awesome prize. That's a huge deal if you win just for $25, and the money obviously is going to a great cause.
So this level is one of the most scary, I think, to new runners of the game, in that you need to be doing a lot of infinite jumps over just, complete void. Infinite jumps are something that take quite a while to actually sort of get the hang of, because it is somewhat precise.
Yeah.
And so, because a lot of this level is just over nothing, it can end up costing you a lot of lives when you're first starting out and dropping infinite jumps here and there. But it also showcases just how powerful the infinite jump is. We're just, moving monkey to monkey. We don't have to worry about any of the challenges they sort of have set up as intended to get through these levels, and speeds things up quite a lot. Interesting thing here, where this monkey, you're meant to have a gadget that you get a bit later in the game to actually catch him, or to draw him out from that sort of glass case he's sitting in. But if you just get right up against the edge and get his attention with the slingshot, then he'll just run out.
Yep.
We have
Definitely
a
wasn't
five-
scared. Go ahead.
We have a $5 donation from Sativa1, who says, Poar pushing Yoshi Tech in 2017. Thank you for your $5 donation. And if you want to have that go to one of the incentives, you can just let us know in the chat, and we'll make sure it goes to that one.
So this level is interesting in that it's the first level where it doesn't actually have any monkey requirements. You can see in the bottom right there, it's just got a Spectre head instead of a standard monkey one. Because it's the first of the levels where, you sort of catch up with Spectre in time. And so we won't actually be catching, I don't think, any monkeys.
No,
Yeah. So
I mean,
we can
there's
do some
supposed to
roundabouts.
be monkey requirements to open doors and stuff, but
Yeah. But again, because we can just do all of this out of bounds stuff, just really isn't required. Hit a loading zone. Yep. So we hit a loading zone there, get to this area where you're meant to find some monkeys and some doors will open, and get to that button which activates everything. See this cutscene here opens up the door there. So we get straight to there using the out of bounds and then head back, go through that door, which is to the first boss of the game.
yeah, that was a little scary. There's another bottomless pit around there somewhere. Thankfully, that terrain's a little bit more generous.
Again, quite scary where you would just end up missing it. And while there are some more death planes in this level, I think you can actually manage to fall down there and hit a death plane, which is a bit better than having to completely re-enter the level. But yeah, it's just if you fall down in a certain spot, you'll just continuously fall. Bosses, you'll see the first use of explosives. They do a bit more damage than our Sun Club, and using 2 of them here allows us to, as you're seeing, Death Abuse, skip most of the intended stuff that this fight's meant to do. He just automatically becomes damageable. You take damage, and with 2 explosive pellets and 2 Stun Clubs hit, 2 Stun Club hits, he's defeated, so you have more than enough health to beat him very quick.
Yep, he only has 4 if you do it right, and you have 5, so... Unfortunately, that's the best boss in the game.
Yeah, it's a definite theme, with less so in the later Ape Escape games and more in this one. Bosses can just be horrendously bad as far as RNG goes. We can talk about that more as we see them later on, but it is very much 35 minutes of needing to play well, and then you just have to sort of hope things go well once you start hitting the bosses.
Yeah.
So, final training room we'll be seeing in this run. This is the RC car. Won't see much use, but
More as a weapon than as an actual, like, car.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where we've seen, you know, the one in the Great Wall that we saw, where you just sort of go up against the ledge and get the monkey's attention from inside the cage. And then this monkey here as well. Yeah, as you can see on the right there, you're meant to use the RC car to lure him out. But because of how he moves at the start of the level, he just sort of comes within range of you being able to swing the net through the cage and to get him.
Yeah, he'll always eventually come close enough. It's just a matter of how many other movements he does beforehand. He can take a while sometimes.
Yeah, he has some sneezing animations, some pausing animations where he just stops and doesn't do anything, and so depending on how many of those he does, he can take quite a while to actually get to the spot you can catch him from. So, City Park, I would say, is a deceptively difficult level.
Definitely.
There's some tight spaces that are filled with what can be best described as purple Pikachus, and because of how the pipes are set up in this area, you can get caught in between the slope on the side and one of these purple Pikachus that you see here, and they can just continuously hit you up against the wall, and you'll just slide back into them, taking more damage. And I think I've seen people go from full health to absolutely nothing by just getting completely stun locked essentially from those enemies. So you can see, especially once you've hit them and they start to split up like this,
Yeah.
they take up a lot of the tunnel, and it's quite frustrating. But I managed to get through there without too much trouble. So
Yep.
it's the last month.
Could have been worse.
Yeah.
This next level has a really interesting route that has been, it's fairly new, like a couple months old now. Where we're actually going to be fighting one of the mid-bosses in this stage.
So again, this first monkey here is it's a lot easier than the UFO monkey we talked about earlier in the game, but you really need to make sure to actually catch him before he jumps in his UFO, otherwise it's quite a strenuous task to actually catch him.
Yeah.
And then that monkey there you saw also shot an explosive at him. which actually missed, but normally you would do that to ensure that he doesn't move and jump into the mech thing that he can. It's not too big a deal if you saw Orsa after he missed, just went straight for it, which is better than trying to use another shot, one, to save some ammo, and two, even if he gets in the mech, there's a fairly fast enough way to back it up by just entering the next area and coming back out. You won't be in the mech anymore. So this is the mid-boss we're talking about. You can get what's called, I guess, early hits here. The timing is fairly precise, but I think even if you get no early hits, it works out to be just as fast as what the old route was.
Yep. Some nice explosives.
So you saw the early hit on that very final hit where he jumps up and you can hit him before he sort of jumps up into nowhere and comes back down. So it saves quite a bit of time each early hit you get.
We have a $5 donation from Slim Jim Randy Savage, who says, I'm loving this Ape Escape run. I'd like my donation to go towards the Bubble Bobble Good Ending Incentive. Thank you very much for your donation, Slim Jim Randy Savage. That's really fun to say.
You see we're getting the RC car out here. That's mostly because this monkey is notorious for being one of the ones that is just terrible to actually deal with. You can stand close to the fence and just use the slingshot to get his attention. He will sometimes run out of the cage, but often you'll just be sitting there for 30 seconds, a minute, who knows how long, waiting for him to actually come out of the fence.
Yeah, it's almost always going to be faster to switch to the RC car.
Yeah.
Yeah, that platform has really bad collision, that moving one. You can just get boosted up onto it sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm going to concentrate for this first half.
So, this is the next level where there isn't technically a monkey requirement. We can't quite do as much skipping of monkeys as we could in the first level that was like this, because it's a little more, I guess, tightly made in that the out of bounds just aren't as prevalent, so you can't really hit any loading zones from out of bounds or anything like that in this level. Alright, nice. So what we saw there was basement catch. That's where I mentioned earlier, again, with the ground pound, it affects the hitbox of the net in a pretty odd way. It just makes it a lot bigger than it visually would appear. And what you can do is you lay the RC car down, and then if you ground pound on it and switch to your net after it explodes, it will knock the monkey that's underneath off of the sort of hangrail he's climbing on. And for a very short period of time, when you do knock him off, he, instead of falling straight down, the monkey's hitbox will sort of go into an animation and knock him a bit up. So when you combine that with the odd hitbox of the net when ground pounding, there's a certain frame window as he gets knocked up that you can catch him in from above the hangrail instead of having to go all the way around and get him from below.
Yeah, it's 3 frames with the RC car. If you try it with the Stun Club, it's 1.
But if you manage to get it with a Stun Club, it saves a gadget switch, which saves a bit of time in menuing.
Sure.
Just a bit of a trade-off, but the consistency is very nice. Coming up is the first of the bosses we mentioned that are heavily impacted by RNG. The time you can lose to it in this boss is not as bad as the next one that comes up. Bosses just sort of progressively get worse as you move through the game.
Yeah. I'm short and explosive, so I'm really hoping for a drop here.
So you can see those rockets give some drops. They can give explosives, which is always nice. Let's see, the first damage we do to the big spaceship looking thing here is set the RC car up to be right at the front, and then you need to wait for these attacks here, which is where the RNG comes in. You have red attacks and blue attacks, so it's just a 50-50 shot which one you get. Red attacks are a lot faster than blue, and so you want as many reds as you can get. It saves quite a lot of time. So we've already hit pretty much even RNG, getting 2 reds there, so at this point it's not too much of a concern what you would get from here on out. So yeah, this is the blue attack, spawn some UFOs which fly around for a while before they despawn, and then...
That's 3, not bad.
Yeah. So then, now that we've done 2 damage, he'll move into the second phase. There is a chance he can do what is called a troll cycle and actually go back and do 2 more of those attacks, though that doesn't really happen too often, which is very nice. So in this second phase, he'll fly around for a little bit and then fly off the stage, where he normally does a swooping attack in towards you. He opens up when he flies out, and so you can just shoot him with an explosive.
Bead has a manipulation to prevent troll cycles. I don't know if it's 100% accurate, but it seems to work okay from what I've tried.
So we get 3 shots with the explosive here, and then this is where the Skyflyer comes in. So the Skyflyer, while it may not seem like it should, actually has some damage attributed to it when you're using it. And so you can use that here where when you deal the final hit of damage, the UFO takes a very slow animation and flies in, as you can see here, to the middle of the arena before blowing up. And so if you shoot an explosive for that final hit, 1, you're using another explosive that you would like to keep for later, but 2, you'll need to fly from way out in the distance into the middle, and so it saves a bit of time to switch to the Skyflyer and do the final damage by just using it as he swoops in to try and drop a bomb on you.
Yeah. A long time ago we used to use the stun club for that, and the Skyflyer is way more reliable. It's almost impossible to miss.
Yeah, you actually needed to hit, you know, in a certain window with the stun club, but with the Skyflyer, because as you're spinning it around, it's just constantly, like, has the hitbox that does damage. There's almost no timing to it at all. Very small optimization at the start here. There's a cutscene that, sorry, I'll talk about that later, it's not on this one.
Yeah,
but,
when you come back.
Yeah. The setup to this level is that he's kidnapped the professor and, I don't know her name, but the professor's assistant.
Misty.
Misty.
Natalie, I think it is.
It's Natalie, yeah, that makes
Yeah.
more sense. But more or less is Misty. So we go through these sort of mini areas. You can see here, this boss is where we need some explosives to speed up the fight a bit. You would hope to have more because you can use some more in this phase to skip one of the hits that we'll need to do here.
Yeah.
It's not too big a deal.
I could have alternatively used the RC car, but I had already switched off of it, so... Oh well.
We've saved the professor, and now I need to go save Natalie. This is, I think, the only auto-scroller I can think of in the game is this roller coaster here.
Just a quick reminder, guys, we are raising money to help bring our 4 Japanese runners to AGDQ in January. So definitely want to check that out. You can see there on the left side of the screen, we're looking to raise about $7,500 to help cover their plane tickets. The marathon, we're going to go all the way until Sunday night, and we've got a bunch of prizes available, including right now, if you donate $5, you're entered to win a Kirby 64 cartridge for the N64 with the box and everything. And then if you donate $25 or more cumulative over the course of the marathon, then you are entered into the grand prize, which is a Super Famicom with Super Donkey Kong 1, 2, and 3 cartridges. So it's a pretty awesome deal. And then we have plenty of incentives to check out. I'll link it in the chat here in just a second. But definitely check those out, get those donations in, and just keep hanging out and enjoying some Ape Escape.
So yeah, well, you can see the obstacles we're jumping over here. I think in this first area they're a bit more random with how they're placed, or is it the second area that's like that?
I'm actually not sure. I just always react to where they are, because it's slow enough that you can.
So, I think there's 13 possible spots and only 11 spawn when you enter the area, I think is how it works.
That sounds right, yeah.
There'll be 2 spots where, you know, it won't be one where there sometimes are, so that is just a little bit of randomness that doesn't really factor. As also said, they're easy enough to just react to as you see them. So some more out of bounds shenanigans here. Skip having to, you know, go and activate a bridge and everything. Just use the Skyflyer here. One of the, I guess, more intended uses of it to land on that platform. And hopefully, okay, caught 2 at least. So we know where this one will spawn, but you would hope to get all 3 there, because it would mean we can. Well, we would have already left the level by now. So instead, we just need for this monkey to come back out of the coffin.
And then we pause and exit here. You can ride the coaster back to Spectreland, but it's slower than just exiting and re-entering.
Oh, is there no cutscene there in Jack?
There is. I just skipped it fast, I think.
Oh, okay. So yeah, here is where we can mention the small optimization I tried to talk about before, where if you start the hoop just before you actually land on the ground, that cutscene that we need to pause for there will play later into the level. And that's important because if it plays on as the level's loading in, it takes a lot longer for that cutscene to actually load, and so getting that full hoop off before you hit the ground saves a little bit of time in that cutscene actually just playing nice and fast. So I guess the final mini boss is.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah. So that's not quite how that goes, but you can see, you can sort of get him stuck on the wall. He's meant to, you know, take one hit, drive back, and you go through the mini RC cars that he drives towards you again. But for whatever reason, if you just hit him in a certain way, you're sort of meant to get him stuck in the wall in the other direction that we hit him there, but it's not programmed very well to where you can just sort of hit him at the right intervals and you can do all the damage to him in one phase instead of 5.
There's a lot of things I don't understand about that boss. For whatever reason, you can just kind of beat him in one cycle for no discernible reason.
So at this point there's only a couple more monkeys to catch and then we'll be into the final boss. And if you go into the room over to the right here, which if you get to a certain point activates the UFOs that are in this open area inside of here. And then we can do some more hitting of loading zones from places we're not meant to hit them to get to the final boss. See here another death abuse. It just saves a little bit of time in getting back up that ramp that we ran down to hit the trigger. Just come straight back out here. See, out of these spots here, the UFOs that I mentioned spawn. And this is where Orsa was talking about having some homing missiles is really useful because these can be quite difficult to hit. They're prone to the hitboxes break, I guess, is the best way to put it, and if that happens, they fly around a lot more erratically than they are now. I've been fortunate enough to not have that happen.
Oh,
that was
damn.
actually very
That
nice
second UFO, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they're the last 2 monkeys. It's been that door there that we've just entered has been something a lot of people have spent a lot of time trying to figure out some way to hit that loading zone from out of bounds, because skipping having to catch those UFOs would save quite a lot of time, but it's just not something that's been found to be possible. And then they're hitting the final area's loading zone in an unintended way, as I mentioned.
Yeah, you're supposed to go through like this big gauntlet of obstacles and stuff, but you can just IJ into the loading zone instead. Saves about 3 minutes.
Yeah, so how easy it is, it's a very large chunk of time that you actually get to skip because of it. Fairly straightforward first phase of this boss, just using the hoop and the sun club to get hits off as quickly as you can. If you have explosives left over there, you can use them there to save a little bit of extra time. It's not really a big deal that you need to worry about trying to get explosives from anywhere. And then, so this is the final boss where the biggest amount of RNG comes into play, where you can only do damage to him after he does 1 of 4 types of attacks. So if he's not doing that attack, which is completely random for him to choose to do, you just can't actually do any damage to him. And as far as you can tell, this is quite bad so far already, but he can just sort of go on forever and not do the attacks he needs. So we see our first one here. Finally, been granted with. So then his arm goes into the state you can damage it. So you need 2 hits for each arm.
Yeah, as far as we know, the only rule that governs it is he can't do the same attack twice in a row, unless the attack he rolls he needs both arms for and he's missing one. Then he can. This is 11, I think. Okay, that wasn't actually too bad, it just started out really bad.
Very bad start, but we got them pretty quickly in the end, which is nice.
So time is coming up. There are 3 more hits left on the boss, and then that's time.
For the final phase, now that we've killed his arms, his chest becomes damageable. He'll do this laser attack. The first 2 hits, he only does 1, and then you can get him. And then the last one, he'll do 2 laser attacks, and then we've got the final hit, which is the time. Lasers here, and that'll be time.
Time.
Nice job.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Alright. Well, that was Ape Escape. Thank you very much, Orsa. For a great run.
Thanks. Had fun. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for some awesome commentary as well.
Yeah, no, that's good.
That's like a 49-20 something SDA.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, very cool. Up next, we have some more Ape Escape. I'm going to be handing it over to Darkman for the hosting duties. But really quick, we actually have a schedule update here. After Ape Escape, we're going to have the Wizards and Warriors run is by JRTA4. That one is going to come up right after Ape Escape coming up. And then we are going to have Mega Man 6, also by JRTA4, and then Mega Man 9 by The Used Pizza. So,
oh man, can't
get
wait.
excited. We're going to have a bunch of cool games coming up. Surprise Mega Man block. And yeah, I think with that, we are ready to switch over. And thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah, thanks. Enjoy the rest of the marathon.
Yeah.